Warikoo, founder nearby.com, angel investor and author, spoke about founder mindset at the Community Connect event. Listen in.
Let's welcome Ankur Warikoo onto the stage with huge round of applause, guys. He's come all the way for interacting with our founders. Thanks a lot, Ankur. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. How is everybody doing? That is the lowest energy I've heard in such a big room. How is everybody doing? You have no idea the level of energy I need. How is everybody doing? All right, more like it. Thank you so much for coming down wherever you have come from. Who here thinks they have come from the farthest point where we are? कौन सबसे दूर से आया? Claims. Where have you come from? Where have you come from? Sorry? Okay, all right. Anyone who can beat that? Anyone? Oh, ये तो बहुत सारे हाथ हैं. Okay, let's give it to the gentleman. He's come all the way from the USA. I'm kidding. It's a pleasure to be amongst all of you. For those who may not know me, and that's totally okay, you're not missing out on anything in life. My name is Ankur. I have been an entrepreneur for the last 10, 12 years. Okay. I have been an entrepreneur for the last 12 years, 13 years, and it's such a joy and privilege to see the startup world. I started up in 2009. When starting up was nearly not as cool as it is today. Back then, starting up meant you did not get a job out of college, so you had to do something else. And look where we are today. You're sitting in the world's largest incubation center, and this is only the start. So it's and you're at the epicenter of every action that's taking place as such. How many of you here are founders? Show of hands. How many of you here are founders? Show of hands. Okay, thank you. How many of you here are students? Oh, quite a few. Awesome. How many of you here are neither students nor founders? Okay, that's perfectly fine. गलतियां सबसे होती हैं. Okay. Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to speak about the founder mindset. When I say the founder mindset, I am not talking about founders. I am talking about a mindset. And you can actually have the founder's mindset or the entrepreneur's mindset irrespective of where you are in life. Entrepreneurship is not a profession. It's a state of mind. It's how you think about life, how you go about doing things that determines whether you are an entrepreneur or not. I was a student at ISB in 2005, 2006, which is why I have such a fond attachment to the city, to of course ISB as an institution, to what it's built. And back then, I did not know whether I wanted to become a founder or not. I had no idea that I would be standing here today after so many years speaking on the founder mindset. I took up a job, which was in consulting. But as I progressed through the job, it was very visible that while I was spending my time with toppers from IIT, toppers from IIMs, the best institutions that the world and the country has, I consistently got this feedback that there is something which is positively unpredictable about you. And I want to stress on these two words. Positively unpredictable about you. And to tell you what these two words mean and how it comes to define the founder's mindset, I will actually use a story. So for about 4 or 5 years, I was teaching at a business school in Gurgaon, digital marketing. So I was a professor of digital marketing, and it was an elective in a business school program. And the final exam of that digital marketing 6-month course was a simple question I used to ask. And the question was, list at least 3 things that you have learned in the course. That's it. That was the final exam. List at least 3 things that you've learned in the course. It's the simplest final exam in the world. And that is why I was the most loved professor as well. Over 4 or 5 years, about 120 students took that exam. And if I really had to grade them, I would not make more than 6 of them pass that exam. I would fail everybody else. And you're like, boss, मतलब एक ऐसे सवाल में कौन कैसे fail हो सकता है? List at least 3 things that you've learned from the course. It's the simplest thing that you can do. For those who may know the answer, please stay quiet because I've shared this story multiple times. Why do you think I would fail everybody except 6 students in this exam? What could be the reason? One of the reasons is I'm not crazy. What could be the reason I would fail students in an exam that says list at least 3 things that you've learned in this course? Yeah?
The thing is that answer to the very simple question need not to be simple.
Okay, you're trying to be very smart when you say that. I totally get it, but that's not what I was looking for. But I get the drift. I get the drift. Thank you for that. Okay, anybody else?
Marketing, people need to be unique the way they need to write answers. But
Okay, marketing people need to be unique. No, anybody else?
you said at least 3, and they might have answered only 3.
My friend here, can we give him a round of applause? You may not have heard what he said. Everyone except 6 students listed exactly 3 things that they learned in the course. When my question was, list at least 3 things that you have learned from the course. This is exactly what each one of us does every single day of our lives. Somebody out there, your manager, your parents, your friends, your relatives, the world outside is constantly telling you, just get these 3 things done and you are successful. Get the funding and you're successful. Get the PMF, you're successful. Get the first 1,000 customers, you're successful. And we get that and stop. Because we want this moment to be recognized, acknowledged, tap on our back and everything. So I tricked my students into believing that the definition of success was 3 things that they learned from the course. And people are like, 3 likh diye, exam pass ho gaye, hum rock star hai, professor bevkoof hai, and it was just done. But only 6 students were like, who the F is Ankur Warikoo to tell us what we learned from the course? He's asked for 6, which is a leading thing, but I learned 7, 9, 13, maybe even 2. But I'm not going to let somebody else define what success is for me. And that is actually a mindset. It's a mindset. If you don't think on a constant basis about what can I do more than what I'm supposed to do, you're actually just predictable. If your manager tells you get these 3 things done and you do it, you're predictable. If your investor tells you to hit these metrics and you do them, you're predictable. If your customers give you feedback, you work on it and get it done, you are predictable. You're not doing somebody any favor. You're not doing anything that was not expected from you. You're doing something that is required from you. The only way that you truly become a founder is when you become unpredictable. When you actually cannot even predict yourself what's going to come out of you. You sit in that zone, you're given a mandate, and you outdo yourself. You're like, fuck, where did this even come from? You're in this flow, in this mojo, in this vibe that is so natural to you. It's not something that you have to, अरे फूक के करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि एक zone में जाना है. You are that person. Constantly. That is your zone. You don't need to get high in life to be happy in life. You are high in life. Perpetually. And not through substances. That is when you become unpredictable. But unpredictability is a double-edged sword. It can go either way. So you have to find a mechanism where this unpredictability becomes positive. It's a net positive impact, not a net negative impact. Because you can go unpredictable and lose everything that you have. Who does that the best? Who is the most unpredictable and ends up almost always losing? Gamblers. That's what it is. That's why casinos recognize unpredictability is actually a drug. It's very seducing once you get used to it, but it is a downward spiral faster than most other things. And that's why it's very easy to be negatively unpredictable. Your job as a founder is to be positively unpredictable. Let me give you a few examples. Has anybody here read the book Moments? A book, Moments? I forget the name of the entire book, but it's about moments. Okay. Raise your hands if you remember a special moment in your life in the last 1 year. Raise your hand if you remember a special moment in your life last 1 year. In the last 12 months, you remember some special moment in the last 1 year. बाकी सबके साथ कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है. I'm sure your life is not as sad as you make it out to be. I'll give you one more chance. Raise your hands if you remember a special moment from your life in the last 12 months. Okay, thank you so much. Most of those special moments were not predictably planned. Agree? Agree? Most of them were unpredictable. And that's why it settled in you. They were also special because they were positive. And that's why it's registered with you. If you do something that's predictable, it is very quickly going to fade away. How many of you here have had a job in your life? How many of you here have worked before or are working right now? Great. You know what I mean. It's so easy to fall into the predictability of a job. You show up every day, punch in, do your shit, leave at the end of the day, get your salary, come back the same day. Once a year there is some appraisal. You're like, oh, itne kam? And manager's like, oh, itni expectations? And it's like the same process year in, year in, year in, year in. And you're just living life. And the next thing you know, it's been 3 years, 5 years, and you're like, whoo, what just happened? Because that's predictable, and it's very easy to fall for it. But the moments that stay in our life, in our mind, are always unpredictable. And that is what you need to do as a founder. So if an investor tomorrow, or let's say you have an investor pitch, how many of you here are planning for an investor pitch in the next 3 to 6 months? Okay, almost all of you, I assume, are coming up with a pitch deck. Guess who else comes up with a pitch deck? Every other founder. Every other founder. Every other founder comes up with a pitch deck. If I were to now go to an investor and say, hey, can you tell me one pitch that you have absolutely loved in the last 12 months? What's the likelihood that that had a pitch deck attached to it? Close to zero. Close to zero. It's like your resume. How many of you here have built a resume? Quite a few of you. It's the most disastrous document you build in your life. क्योंकि सबका same लगता है. Class 5 won the elocution contest, was ranked number 1, was saying Mary had a little lamb. And this is how I stood. Was promoted 13 times in the last 48 hours and is now the junior most employee in the company. We're always just going rah-rah around what we have done, and we actually believe that that is the document to best represent ourselves, and yet it doesn't work. Why do you think it doesn't work? I wish I could share my resume, and I don't have it here, but if you could just look up, because I recently posted about it. When I was a student at ISB, I was like, boss, I am not going to listen to the placement committee and sign up for this so boring resume template. Because guess who else has that template? Everyone else. So I can't trick myself into believing, oh, because I did this in my life, I am going to stand out. That's not how life works. I have to start with breaking the template itself. So I came up with my own template. My resume was actually images of post-its that I had put on a piece of paper that were just snippets about what I had done in life. I don't care whether you like my life or not, but I know for a fact when somebody looks at that, they'll be like, boss, इस इंसान से तो definitely नहीं मिलना है, या इस इंसान से definitely मिलना है. No one's going to be like, oh, पढ़ के देखते हैं कि क्या लिखा है. Nobody cares anymore because you've broken the template already. You are out there doing something that is positively unpredictable. No one scanning through those resumes is going to make that happen, and you did. Everyone who used to apply at Nearby, which was the startup that I was running before I stepped down as the CEO, was never asked, oh, please send us your resume because we feel that that's the best document in the world. No. We actually sent them a list of 20 questions that had nothing to do with their work profile. These 20 questions were all about who they are as an individual. And everybody, irrespective of role, experience, salary, got those same 20 questions. 20 questions like, what's the worst thing about you? Pick between money and power. Pick between speed and perfection. If you had to live your life without one of the 5 senses, which one would you be okay living without? These are random shit questions. So guess what happened? Only 27 people, only 27% of people replied to those questions. And we're like, awesome, we love that. Because we never wanted to spend time with the remaining 73. We don't care how good they are. लेकिन अगर उनके पास इतना भी वक्त नहीं है that they can answer 20 questions about themselves for themselves, we don't want to spend time with them. And those 27% who had answered those 20 questions, guess what happened to them? It frankly didn't matter whether they made it or not. Because they went back into their circle and said, you know what? I got the most crazy set of 20 questions today when I applied to this company. And guess what would be the next question? Which company? And suddenly those 20 questions became our way of positively, unpredictably becoming our source of hiring. Over the last 5 years of Nearby's existence, we have hired close to about 680 people, replaced, new positions, and so on. We've never worked with a hiring agency. The entire HR function is managed by 2 people, one of whom is aged 22 and the other one 26. We've never had a head of HR because everything was about, we don't want to be a service function, we want to be a product company. And if we are designing a function such as HR, which is so critical, I don't want to be like, oh, tell us what your problem is, because if it's important enough, we will solve it for you. We want to be a product company. When was the last time Google asked you what they should do in their next product sprint? Never. They predict what you want because they are keenly focused on what you care about. And they're just shipping every 2 weeks like a product company. And you want your most important function to be exactly like that. Why should it be a policy-making engine? Just an example, but such a powerful one. I can go on and on, but we don't have enough time. It's 3:15. I want to have a lot more conversations. But the only thing that I want to leave you with is, please don't trick yourself into believing that just because you started a company, you are a founder. I know of so many people who are working in jobs that are the best founders I will ever find. And I know of so many founders who are not going to be hired by even the worst companies on earth because they have the worst employee mindset. And I don't say this in contempt of who employees are, but don't believe that you being predictable is going to make you win. Because if you do what everyone else is expecting you to do, you will end up where everyone expects you to end up. and that may not be where you have set your ambitions on. So please, fashionably so, proudly so, from tomorrow onwards, think of everything that's happening in your life and ask yourself, how can I be positively unpredictable about this? Not settle into a template. Instead, try and challenge the template in order to define what could work and perhaps be a far better way of doing the same thing that I have always come to believe is true. Thank you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for coming down all the way from US. And let's have the questions coming. Thank you. Thank you. तालियां बाद में बजा देंगे, उस पर टाइम नहीं वेस्ट करेंगे. All right, questions. How are we doing the questions? Are we passing the mics around? Are people coming up here? Oh, you have the mic, sir. Wonderful. So, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I'm sure you have. India में ना बड़ा अजीब सा culture है. The mic बेचारा has to go to people. Oh, अरे वो mic. In the Western culture, the mic is right there. तो sir आप हिलेंगे नहीं, ठीक है? You will be here. Don't move. And everyone who has a question, please come right to the center of this line. Ask your question and then go back to where you're seated. So whosoever has a question, please come up to this, form a queue, and we will then start asking questions. Wonderful. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. If a startup, we start any startup, founders have already like something डर होता है कि जैसे कि एक टेक फाउंडर होता है, एक बिजनेस फाउंडर होता है. But a business founder is solely starting the startup and he bring a new tech founder. तो उसके मन में हमेशा एक डर रहता है कि यदि वो टेक फाउंडर्स बीच में लीव कर जाए and with something dispute हो जाए. So how can we tackle this situation in the founder's mindset?
Okay, this is a good question. I'll broaden this out. Thank you so much. आप mic उनको वापस दे दीजिए, वापस जहाँ जाए वहीं, and please keep forming that line. So the broader question is the following. Forget business founder, tech founder, and so on. You're bringing in people who are very important. It could be a founder as well. I think I have the rare distinction in India to have had multiple founders recruited and then also fired. So I've had a lot of experience with founders as such. And here is how it works. One, you need to be very sure that someone is founder material. Just because you're missing a founder, don't make someone a founder. Just because you don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend in your life, you don't make some random person your girlfriend, boyfriend, right? You still go through a period of courtship. It's critical. So if you are evaluating someone for something as critical as being a founder of your company, you don't do that by, oh, I'm hiring you and your title from day one is founder. Really bad call. You give them a senior position so that they're in a position of authority to exercise judgment and to make things happen. But please see them for a period of time and have that conversation with them up front. That boss, I will look at you for 3-6 months. You will know what it is to work with me. I will know what it is to work with you. We both will figure whether this is making sense. And if it does, founder, I want you to win. I'm coming in with that trust, but I can't on day one give it to you. That's number one. Number two, equity. Don't give away your equity क्योंकि वो founder बन चुका है. That person has come in much later than you. Their risk is much lesser than you. Even if it is significant risk, it is still lesser than you. You have to vest the founder, just as you would vest the employees as well. And somebody who doesn't agree with that, that's a red sign and a red flag right there itself. Any founder who says, मुझे day one पे पूरी equity चाहिए, is not a founder. Because they would want to then leave on day two with all the equity that they have vested, and you'll be left with nothing. I've seen so many teams get killed because of that. Vest founders as well. There is no shame in doing that. Please vest founders. And number three, if you do not have the expertise to evaluate the capability of a founder, for example, business founder doesn't know tech, so doesn't know how to evaluate a tech founder, form a board of people who can evaluate it for you. You don't want to be making that mistakes कि अच्छा काम लग रहा है. That's a poor way of making an important decision for your business. So don't be flippant about it. Form a board of experts who can thoroughly evaluate that individual basis their capability, because if they're able to do that, then you're home. And last, please don't live in fear, because shit is going to happen to you. You have just started, my friend, and I wish you the best. But even if you're the most successful startup in the world, you will go through so much that you have no idea how it is going to affect you. So please don't live in fear. Be prepared for it, but live in optimism. All right, next.
Hi Ankur.
Hi.
I'm Samir.
Sandeep?
Hi Ankur. I'm Samir.
Samir.
Yeah, I recently my product is ready for the market, and I'm just trying to connect with some VCs, angels, and everyone. And I also tried to connect you also a few times in LinkedIn and in mails and in somewhere, but I didn't get a response. So how can I get a response from you?
I don't know if you know this about me, Samir. I read all my emails. So I have read your email. But if I haven't responded, it's because there was something in that email that didn't strike and click, which is why I did. So I read all my emails, I respond to only 5% of them. Now that you have told me, I'm not going to give you any special favors. You still can try, but if the email does not click, I will not respond.
So how can I do it?
The way to do that is the following, and this is true for anything, not just cold emails. Make a laundry list of all the reasons why someone would not reply. Every possible list, including he is an asshole. Like everything, every possible. And then rank them. Descending order of impact. Pick the top 3, and every new version of that email should solve for those top 3 reasons. Keep playing around with it. It's not a template. It is positively unpredictable. If you're sending me a predictable email, I kid you not, I get entrepreneurial emails or founder pitches, which are like, title will be urgent. I don't know for who, but urgent. And the email, I kid you not, will be, dear sir/ma'am. मतलब वो इतनी जल्दी में था कि उसको मेरा जेंडर भी पता नहीं, आजकल की दुनिया में वैसे नहीं पता चलता. Find attached my investor pitch. Call me on this number. अरे कौन सी दुनिया में ये लोग? like कौन है ये लोग? कहाँ से इनकी ट्रेनिंग हुई है? Because somebody would have told them that that is how you send an email. It doesn't come as if it's our birth knowledge. But it is amazing how we don't even think about how the other person is going to receive it. So you're a founder, my friend, and I'm not going to let you easy on that. You're building products for the consumer and you don't know anything about the consumer. So you're predicting what they would want. Exactly the same way your cold email is a product. I am the consumer. You have to think of what will make this work for me. Here's a tip. The email, if it could have been sent to anybody else as well, is not a good email. Did you hear that, Samir? If the email could have been sent to anybody else, it's not a good email. Okay? Perfect. Let's go on. Sorry.
Personalized, right? It's supposed to be personalized.
Make
personalized, and I saw your
I'm
video.
not going to give you any more answers. Next.
Hello Ankur, this is Hitendra.
Hi.
I'm a huge fan of yours, and I've been following you since last 2 years.
Thank you.
And the work that you are doing is very inspirational, and a lot of youth from India and from outside also is getting inspired from you. A lot of motivation, insight, learning, a lot of things from you. So whatever you are doing is very inspirational, and I would like to I wanted to give you a small gratitude of gesture I wanted to give you.
Wow.
So I brought this for you, if you allow me to give you.
Who will say no to that? Wow.
I'm from Rajasthan basically.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, man.
She's
Oh, lovely.
Meera Bhai.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Thank you.
The question I wanted to ask you.
Oh, question bhi hai? Oh. Yes.
I watched your video last day. You posted one video about dealing with failures, right? So yesterday you talked very nice about how to deal with failures, but I really wanted to know what was the biggest setback in your startup journey, and how did you dealt with that? And again, the follow-up question is that. What was the very conscious, evolution or change that you did in your personality, or your journey?
Okay. I'm not going to go through the setback because that's a long story, but here's what I learned from that, or how I overcame that setback. Two things, and that have helped me in my life every day, which is the same thing I said in the video as well. You don't ever do anything that you hate, and you show up every day. And that's it. You don't ever do anything that you hate, and you show up every single day. As hard as it is, as difficult as it is, as painful as it is, you show up every single day, because the pro is the amateur who showed up every day. And that's the only thing that I do for any setback, not just that. पर्सनैलिटी में कोई चेंज नहीं है, मैं बिल्कुल वैसा ही हूँ. लोग मुझे बोलते हैं कि मेरा चेहरा भी नहीं बदला. So I'm exactly like the best thing about me is that I don't have to become somebody else to be me. You meet me here, you meet me in a mall, you see me in a YouTube video, I'm exactly the same person. I'm never different, and that's the best thing about me. So no personality change, but my wife would be a better person to answer that. Okay, next. Thank you so much, man. I'm mindful of time. Sorry, please keep your question. Yes, thank you so much, sir. Rapper will be always nice. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ved. I came from NIT Warangal. So thanks for coming to Hyderabad. We really love you. So my question is, being a founder, it's almost always a leap of faith that you want to change something in the world. So when do you realize that utopian world that you have in your mind, when do you have to take care that is not being translated to the team? When do you see that things are not going fine in the process? When do you know that your team members are not really emphasizing and not on resonance with your idea?
It's a great question, man. So the answer to the question is very simple. When do you know that things are not working? When you start asking this question. When do you know is the right time to fire someone? When you start asking that question. When do you know is the right time to change your product? When you start asking the question. क्योंकि कोई ऐसे लकीर तो है नहीं कि यार ये this is the playbook, अब एक वक्त आ गया है. It is always in here. So the minute the doubt arises, there is something that is the germination of that, and you have to probe always, always. Now that might mean what you signed up for is not where you are, and that disconnect can be very overwhelming. At that point of time, you always have two choices: continue, but you don't ever know whether you'll reach here, or two, disconnect, let it go, don't spend any further time on it, even though you have already spent time on it, and restart for this goal. But don't persist just because you spent time on it already.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you, man.
Hello, Ankur sir. I'm Karthik. First of all, it's completely unpredictable day for me and for all Hyderabad guys. Yesterday also we sent a message on Instagram. We Hyderabad folks are eagerly waiting for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So from the past months, I've been waiting to interact with you on Instagram Friday sessions, but unluckily, I didn't got a chance. But here I am.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Awesome, man.
So yes. My question is either it might be founder mindset or any other normal guy founds it. If you are listening to some other thoughts, some session, some guy's video, आज तूफान करेगा, ऐसे एक thought आएगा. But when we go out from the room, the blades start cooling down. What's the solution for that?
The solution is the following, and this is a great question, and I think this will be a good conclusion as well. All of you are here today, and you have a few folks to thank, because I am here today because they asked me to, and we made it happen. What if Vijay had not sent me an email and said, why don't you come to T-Hub? I'm hoping that some of you feel inspired after this conversation. But what if he hadn't sent me that email? How would you have been inspired today? And the problem is, most of you leave inspiration to some random serendipitous event in your life. Oh, YouTube pe, arey wow, what a video, you see it and then you feel all goosebumpy. But what if that feed did not show up that day? What if I wasn't here today? What if somebody else that you randomly encountered did not leave you inspired today? What you're essentially doing is, you are leaving inspiration to chance. And that is not the way to live. Inspiration needs to be a choice, not something you leave to chance. And that means you do something that inspires you every single day as a discipline. Whether it's reading, whether it's singing, whether it's meeting new folks, whether it's watching a video, whether it's writing, whatever it is, you do something that inspires you every single day. Because if you don't, it is stupid for you to believe, "Arey, ye ek session ab mujhe 2 hafte tak leke jayega." And then after 2 weeks, of course, T-Hub mein kuch aur ho jayega, and then fir se main inspire ho jaunga, and then fir se aur 2 hafte. That is the wrong way to live. It's a very unpredictable way to live, but negatively unpredictable, because you don't even know what that impact would be. Make it positive and make it unpredictable of where that inspiration comes from. So don't leave inspiration to chance. That is
Thank
my
you a
question.
lot, sir.
Thank you, man.
And one last question.
Sorry. Look at the line behind you.
It's just hi from my team. That's it.
Sorry?
My team is not here. They're working with the foundation organization call. They just said hi to you.
Thank you. Hi, man. Okay, there is a long line. How do we deal with this?
One line questions. Let's not do, don't.
Can we please have a lady, because there are too many leaders, founders, and
yeah.
Okay, who's the next lady? You are not. As my dear sir/ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
So I just have a small question.
Please.
What do you think is the power of taking the first step irrespective of the outcome?
No, sorry, I didn't get the question. What is the power of?
Power of taking the first step irrespective of the outcome.
Ooh, okay, I wasn't prepared for that last question. What is the power of taking the first step irrespective of the outcome? I think that is the only thing that matters, because that is when you're truly being yourself. Here is the truth, and I firmly believe in this. As humans, we trick ourselves into believing कि हम बहुत कुछ जानते हैं. So we fixate ourselves on taking the right decisions in life. How many of you have been paralyzed by taking a decision because you didn't know whether it was the right decision or not? Yeah? Everyone. You will never know if a decision is right or wrong before you take the decision. You will always know after you've taken the decision. But we spend so much time in trying to take the right decision. But the powerful thing is to take a decision without knowing what that outcome will be, because that will set you up for a lot more. The agility to maneuver whatever circumstance you are in is the superpower. Last 2 साल ने अगर हमें कुछ भी सिखाया है, वो यही है that it's not the fiercest, most complicated, most comprehensive business plan that wins. The business that has the ability to maneuver whatever they are going through is the one that wins. You want to be that person who's taking the first step, saying, oh, something's happened in the world, I don't know what that means, but let's pivot to online, because nobody's stepping out right now. We don't know what that outcome will be, but we'll see. Those are the individuals that make shit happen. So thank you for that thought-provoking question. We are out. I'm really sorry.
Sorry, we are out of time now.
Emails is the best thing. Samir has asked a question that taught us how to write good emails, and that is the best way for me to respond. Please don't send me a message on LinkedIn.
Uncle, quick 1 minute.
Yes.
Would you want to pick 3 top questions that you had answered, and we have some goodies to give it up.
Okay, great. Sorry, just 1 minute.
Top 3 questions, we'll get goodies.
Oh, top 3 questions? I would definitely give it to the lady who just came in right now. The power of the, wherever you are. Power of taking the first step without knowing the outcome. You've just won yourself a hamper.
Please come over.
Which is not from Karan Johar.
In the meanwhile, who's the next one?
The next one is, I'll actually give it to Samir. for the
Samir?
cold email questions. Is he there? Yeah, he's there. Only because I'm feeling bad that I haven't answered your email. But you still have to improve. Yeah? Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for that question. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Is anybody clicking a photograph? No. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Who's the third one, Ankur?
Okay, I've forgotten the questions. Which was a good question? Come, Samir. Thank you. Good email, huh? Okay. As in, I'm not congratulating you on a good email. I'm asking you to write one. Okay, which was a good third question? Which one? When do you stop? I love that question. When do you stop? When do you know when to stop? Who was that? Yes, please. You're almost coming as if you're not sure whether you asked the question or not. कि कोई और हाथ खड़ा कर नहीं रहा, मैं कर देता हूँ. Yeah, it was you. I recognize you now. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Good question. I hope you don't have to ever stop, but thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Folks, you can keep your questions coming in at Twitter, @hubHyd. I don't need to mention Ankur's Twitter handle. All of us know about it. A big round of applause for Ankur Warikoo. Ankur, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. It was great having you here today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's all because of you. I'm so glad that I made it. I promise to be back very soon. Don't feel disheartened if your questions haven't been answered. Trust me, in some shape and form, your questions have been answered by somebody else, and perhaps in a better way. So stay in touch. Send me an email. That's the best way. Don't send me LinkedIn requests. I don't accept them anymore. Facebook friends is not a thing anymore. Instagram followers, sorry, can't keep track. Email, best thing. I read all my emails. I swear when I say that. So please send me an email. Make it worth my time to respond, and I'll be more than happy to respond. God bless you all. All the best with everything.
Last one, we'll take a picture with the crowd.
Yes, let's take a picture with the crowd.
On the center
Okay,
stage.
and who's going
This
to?
way.
I take a selfie? All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3.